We are back at it again with ADP review, and today we enter round 4 discussing some of the most interesting names in the game, featuring Garrett Crochet, who was recently traded, George Kirby, and so much more on today's action-packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source of fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I'm your host, Dominick Martino, riding solo today, as you can see if you're watching on YouTube. And if you are watching on YouTube and you haven't already, hit that little bell below. It will subscribe you to the channel and give you a notification every time we drop a new episode. Or if you're listening on a platform like Apple or Spotify that allows 5-star ratings and reviews, we would truly appreciate it if you could do that for us. And lastly, most importantly to Matt and I and you guys this time of year, give us a chance on the Subtext platform. Through the Subtext platform, it's an in-depth personalized experience. You'll be getting text messaging alerts right to your phone, offering so much more than we can in this 30-minute episode. And this time of year on Subtext, you'll be getting our 2025 rankings, sleepers, breakout, bust, and so much more. And if you are interested in joining us on the Subtext platform, the link is in the bio wherever you're listening, watching, or it's available on any of our social media platforms. And guess what? You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started today. And all right, guys, we are moving into round 4 here, and it's going to be, really interesting. And we got so many great names to talk about. We might as well just start at the top. No reason to tease it. Let's just get into it today. And just actually real quick, let me take a step back. So Matt did do things a little bit differently yesterday. I'm going to follow the same suit. We're going to try and get through all of the names that were featured here in round 4. And then at the end, I'll talk about who is my favorite pick, least favorite pick, and, maybe a little interesting, something else, a little tidbit in there at the end too. But let's start at, the first guy off the board in round 4. It's a starting pitcher, and it's none other than George Kirby, starting pitcher of the Seattle Mariners. And here's my thing with Kirby, right? So at this point, if we're taking him here, he's coming off the board as the number 9 starting pitcher. And it's just really tough for me to take George Kirby as a bona fide SP1. We really all expected the breakout last year, and it didn't happen. There's a chance it does happen this year, but we're paying for that upside. We're paying for the chance that he is an SP1. According to my standards, I don't think he performed as an SP1 last year. For George Kirby last year, he had 33 starts, a 3.53 ERA, 191 innings pitched, 179 strikeouts, and a 106 whip. Like, he was good, but I'm looking at that guy, and I'm looking at more of a solid SP2, a high-end SP3, and I'm not really excited. I'm not really excited about those numbers. If he could, live up to his FIP, his career FIP is a 3.22, and I would like him to be closer than that. I think Kirby could even be a sub 3 ERA guy. I don't know if he ever reaches that, K per 9 that we all foresee him reaching. I honestly don't. He didn't get enough whiffs last year. He's getting a lot of ground balls. He doesn't really walk anybody. So he's in there. He's mixing it up in the zone. The chase rate's there. I would just love to see him put it all together. But once again, to pay the SP9 price for a guy that it's not guaranteed on. And, we'll be talking about a couple other starters in this episode that honestly I do have ranked ahead of Kirby at this point. And when we get there, we'll kind of mix those names in there. Kind of want to leave a little bit of mystery, as we, sit here and talk about, round 4, the names we have, teed up for today. But with that said, guys, I actually do, have my rankings here. Let's see where I actually do have Kirby. It's a lot lower than honestly everybody does. I have George Kirby at my SP20, and I might be the outlier there. But like I said, I'm just not paying the price for the upside of Kirby. I love him as an SP2 all day long. I could even see him moving up my rankings. I got a couple of guys there that I might have to get Kirby ahead of. I can even see me getting him up to maybe 16 at this point in time. 15, 16 in that range. But I just can't do the SP1 thing with Kirby at the moment. So we're going to leave it there. Let's move on to this next guy. Let's talk some Corey Seager, right? Corey Seager is such an interesting name because, this time last year, honestly, he was almost like a second round pick, I want to say. And he's now fallen from grace. And actually, let's recap here. I don't think I did say this. With Kirby's coming off the board at pick 40.7, and Corey Seager is literally averaging the same ADP, which would be 40.7 as well. And that we're sitting in that round 4 range at that point in time. And I like this actually. I like the spot for Seager. I think he has a pretty strong, bounce back year in 2025 after dealing with a little bit of injury, not playing too many games, even though he played less games in 2023 and performed a lot better. I think the injuries were just affecting him a bit more in 2024, but still a pretty strong season from Corey Seager. He had 123 games played for those Texas Rangers, of course, 475 at bats, 68 runs, 21 doubles, 30 homers, 74 RBIs. He stole the bag and he hit 278. And the Rangers themselves as a team took a step back in 2024. I think they're going to be a little bit more healthy. I think everyone's going to be ready to say, hey, you know what? Guys like Evan Carter, Langford takes another step forward. Maybe Simeon, just bounces back as well. And even Josh Young, who dealt with injury last year himself. They have a good core there in Texas. So I really do like what that team has brewing, and I think Corey Seager is going to have to be the catalyst for that Texas Rangers team if they really do want to be great, because he's been an all-star plenty of times. He's proven, he's just a stud. So I really think that I like the ADP here, and I think it's a good call that if your team, if construction, say, hey, I need a shortstop at this time. Maybe you went a couple of bats, maybe you took a starter in the third, and you want to bounce back with a guy in the fourth that could give you second round value. I honestly love the Corey Seager pick here, and I think it's pretty safe. It's just always injury with Corey Seager. He only has a handful of healthy seasons in his career. So it's not so much if he's going to be good. It's just, can he stay on the diamond? And if he gives you even 130 games plus, he's going to just be a stud for fantasy. We can actually, let's get another name in here. We can actually do it. Let's talk some Kyle Schwarber. This is one that's a little tougher for me. It's not so much that I don't like Schwarber. He mixed things up last year, and Kyle Schwarber's coming off the board at pick 42.5. I currently have Kyle Schwarber ranked as my number 17 outfielder. I actually think I'll move him up a couple. It's so interesting. The thing about my rankings, and I didn't mention at the top, and I should have, is that my rankings and Matt's rankings, whenever we're talking about them, are a little bit biased towards 5x5 head-to-head categories leagues. That's what we specialize in. They also do work pretty well for Roto, but whenever we're here talking with you guys on the podcast, we always try to mention a little bit of a point spin on things, and that's why I did want to talk about it here with Schwarber, Chris, particularly. He's just a stud for points leagues, and that's why I said you might say, Dom, it's crazy he's a little bit lower in your rankings. I just did want to mention that. It's based off of head-to-head categories, 5x5 leagues. Schwarber, 248 last year, his best batting average since 2021. He had 38 homers last year, had 104 RBIs, 106 walks to 197 strikeouts. He hit 22 doubles. That was all done in 150 games and 573 at bats. So now the thing is that in 2022 and 2023, we saw the same version of Kyle Schwarber. It was a abysmal batting average. In fact, in 2023, he hit under the Mendoza line, he hit 197. 2022, Schwarber hit 218. I love to see the bounce back here in 2024 to get up to the 248. The 9 less homers, it does make a difference, unfortunately. But, I almost take the 50 extra points in batting average, right? It almost kind of even does balance it out when you look at it like that. The runs and the RBIs are always elite from Schwarber. So, honestly, I think I'll make the adjustment live here with you guys. I'll move Schwarber up to 14. I can get him up to 14 at outfield. And that's why, it's fun to do these episodes. I always like to mention this, too, that this time of year, it's fun to go over everything, do the deep dives, sit here, talk with you guys, and really get everything out in the open. But what? Coming up next, we're going to be talking about names like recently traded Garrett Crochet. He's on the Red Sox now. We're repeat Alonzo land. This 4th round is action packed with names. So those names and more coming up next. And folks, Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. With Game Time Picks curation, it makes it easier to save more on sports, concert, comedy, and theater. Game Time has plenty of great features as well as their all-in pricing. When you toggle this feature, it shows you the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. With their seat views, you'll get a panoramic view from the actual seat you'll be sitting in before you buy it. With their lowest price guarantee, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. And with Game Time's ticket coverage, your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Guys, what time is it? It is game time. And then, folks, as always, I want to talk to you guys about the Locked On Fantasy Baseball Podcast Diamond Club on the Subtext platform. It's going to be your ultimate fantasy baseball companion as this offseason continues to unfold. You can rely on Matt and I for our dynamic content. And this time of year, once again, we are getting you guys out our 2025 rankings, sleepers, breakouts, busts, and so much more that you can only get through the Subtext platform. So you know what? You guys are going to want to join the Diamond Club. Once again, on Subtext, where the path to your victories are going to begin. Subscribe now and elevate your fantasy baseball experience to a new level. And all right, folks, before we get to Garrett Crochet, we have to talk about the next man off the board, and it is Emmanuel Clase A. And you know what? Clase A is a bona fide stud at this point in his career, right? He's coming off the board at pick 43, and I get it. If you play in one of those, like those NFBC leagues where you need a stud closer, I get it. You can totally make that pick, and you're really not going to have too many question marks at the position, and you'll be a way ahead of everybody else. But if you just play in a regular standard league, which most guys do, most of us are just playing in a 12-man league with the boys, and you're wondering, do I take a closure this early? And I think I'm speaking to most of us. I already covered if you're doing one of those not weird, but one of those extravagant leagues or one of those big, industry leagues and stuff like that, or an early league. I get it. The safety is guaranteed. But once again, you're doing a regular league with the boys, 10-man, whatever you do. I'm not big on closers early. Now, once again, as great as Emmanuel Clase is, I just think it's a heavy price to pay for a closer. But let's talk about the numbers for Clase last year. At 26 years old, he had a monster season. He had an 0.61 ERA through 74 games. He had 47 saves. He had 74 innings pitched. He had 66 strikeouts, and he had an 0.65 whip. So, Clase A is aging like fine wine. I would expect him to be more like, like a 1.7, a 2 ERA. The 75 innings, 74 innings is right where he's been the last 3 years with, around a K per 9. You love that. And then the ERA sub 1, is definitely in the cards for a guy like Class A. So it's not really so much about, how good Class A is. I just think that you can optimize that closer later in the draft. I've been doing it a long time. Like Ryan Helsley was a great guy I targeted last year. Didn't have to pay a heavy price for him. Did great with it, right? So, and you know who I was targeting last year? Josh Hader had a pretty good price on him last year. I know he wasn't fantastic last year, but he was good enough. And I had a lot of leagues where it was Hader, Helsley, and I did pretty well at the closer position. I didn't have to look back. So it's not so much about paying, for that number 1, 2 closer. If you can get like the 4th, 5th closer, and then like you jump back in again, and then you get like another, like, maybe like a number 10 overall closer like that. And you just try and, get 2 stable guys that, are going to be pretty solid. And you don't have to get the best closer in the league, even though Class A at pick 43, once again, he pitches to those Cleveland Guardians. If you didn't already know, it's right in the right circumstances, but more cases than not, I'm avoiding it. But let's move on to the man of the hour, or the man of the half hour. Garrett Crochet. Recently traded once again to those Boston Red Sox, and congratulations to the Red Sox fans. But you know what? I can't do it. I mean, not that I can't do it. I'm a Yankee fan, and I'm a little sour about it. I would have hoped that the Yankees could have did something like this instead of spending all that money on Max Fried. But that's here nor there. We'll have that conversation another time. Oh, so once again, the Red Sox get Crochet, the White Sox get Kyle Teal, Brady Montgomery, Chase Meredith, and Wilkman Gonzalez. Sorry if I butchered any of those names. But now that Garrett Crochet is over in Boston, I love it, man. He's going to be a stud. He's just so expensive, man. The price is only been building. So right, when I talk about, we're looking at ADP here, it says pick 43.3, but that's been rising, and then once again, that's pitcher off the board 9-10. He's the 10th pitcher off the board, man. It's a heavy price to pay when you have. We'll just throw it out there. Names like Dylan Cease, Garrett Cole, and Blake Snell going pretty much right after you, right? I like Crochet this year. I just don't think I'll have many shares because I have him ranked fairly lower than that. I have Garrett Crochet as SP 23. He might be one of the best pitchers in baseball. He might go out and win a Cy Young this year, but it's just hard to pay that price for him at the moment. Last year, Crochet 32 starts, a 3.58 ERA, 146 innings, 209 strikeouts, a 106 WHIP. He has a really great pitch mix, really good stuff. It goes over to a team that's going to win. He's 26 years old. I'm talking myself into him as we keep going here. But can't do it. Especially I've heard he's been moving up to like SP5 if you look at December ADP. So that's literally putting him above guys like Corbin Burns and Cole Reagans. It's just a rich price for a guy that hasn't really proven it yet. And he goes over to the Red Sox. And, Fenway Park isn't really always kind to lefties. You got the Green Monster out there. So let's see. I honestly don't think I'll have a lot of shares. As good as I think the upside is here, I just don't think I'll have too many shares of Garrett Crochet. But guys, with that being said, we have so many more names to get through, so I'm going to probably speed run a few of these coming up next, like Alonzo, Cease, O'Neal Cruz. I already mentioned Garrett Cole. You're going to need to make sure you are locked on for those. And folks, I need to talk to you about my friends over at FanDuel. Right now, get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And all right, guys, I don't even want to waste any time. Let's just jump back into it and talk about Pete Alonso. Now, I don't think this is going to be a deep dive, unfortunately. Right now, Pete Alonso is still a free agent. He's coming off the board at pick 43.5 right now. And I think as long as he goes to a team that's got a good lineup, he's going to be useful for fantasy, right? There's just no way around it. He's going to hit you 30-plus home runs, I think, in any landing spot. In more than most landing spots, 40-plus is always in the cards. And, ton of RBIs, the batting average. He's a career 249 guy, but over, the last 2 seasons, he's kind of just been mediocre at best. Coming off the first 4 years of his career, you really would have thought Alonso was on the trajectory to be a 260, 270 career kind of hitter, but hit 217 in 2023, hit 240 last year with the 38 home runs, 88 RBIs, 91 runs. That was in all 162 games played for Pete Alonso last year. I like some of the landing spots that are being thrown out there. Houston, I think, selling now. If Alonso comes to maybe the Yankees, I don't know. I don't know what. I don't really know. Maybe who else is out there? Maybe the Royals go out there and make a play for him. Now they got Vinny P out there. So let me just stop with the speculating and just what we're gonna come back to Pete Alonso when he officially gets signed, and we'll discuss him more then because not really too much actionable here. If I was drafting today, he's probably an avoid for me. So right now, kind of just hold the boat on Alonso until we get more information to work off of here. Let's move on to this next starting pitcher, and I don't think there is any debate here. It's Dylan Cease, and Dylan Cease just has been really, really good, man. And I think he's one of those guys. When you look at the Garrett Crochet versus Dylan Cease, right? Is if Garrett Crochet goes out there and does what Dylan Cease did last year, are we not going to be like blown away? Oh my God. Because you know what? This past season, it was 33 starts for Cease, a 3.47 ERA, 189 innings pitched, 224 strikeouts with a 106 whip. And San Diego just helped get Dylan Cease right. I think he's going to be a bona fide stud going forward. And this is a good pick. This is one if you waited a little bit to get your SP1, and I have Dylan Cease as my SP12, so I think he's literally a perfect low end SP1, and it's at a good price. And you just want to make sure your next starting pitcher is somebody who's maybe a little bit more stable. Maybe you could go for I would love to say like a George Kirby type. Like who else is going a little bit later? I'll even throw a name out there that I have ranked a little bit later, like someone you could target. Maybe even like an Imanaga, who I have going a little bit later, or like a Sonny Gray is like a good pairing with a guy like C, somebody that's just a little bit more stable, somebody like that. So I really do like the price for Dylan Cease right now, and I think we could take advantage of that. Let's keep things moving though. We have O'Neal Cruz up next, and you know what? It's just funny because I feel like his ADP has moved up from last year, and O'Neal Cruz had a solid year, but coming off the board at pick 44 right now, I just feel like everyone is leaning into the upside again. And if I'm not mistaken, I think O'Neal Cruz was going like round 7 last year. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I would pull it up here, but for time's purposes, I do want to keep things pushing. Hit 260 last year. O'Neal Cruz did 21 homers, 76 RBI, 72 runs, 22 steals in 146 games, 541 at bats. So forgive me if I already said that. But you know what? Coming into his age 26 season, I still think the breakout's there. But I don't know if I'm just paying this high of a price for O'Neal Cruz. I have O'Neal Cruz ranked as my number 8 shortstop, so I guess I'm kind of in sync here with ADP, to be honest with you. I do have Corey Seager right above him. So if this is the price we have to pay, so be it. But if I'm shopping for shortstop in this round, I really think I'm aiming for Corey Seager. So I might just bite the bullet a little bit earlier and just try and get Corey Seager, because the upside is 30-30 for O'Neal Cruz with a 270 batting average, because he definitely can hit for average too. Came on a little bit at the end of the season there, struggled a little bit at the beginning. And this is the upside play, I guess. So if you went with a little bit more stable bats, maybe first 2 picks, then you want a pitcher and you want to take a risky upside pick here, you can do O'Neal Cruz. And I think Corey Seager is maybe more the opposite way. If you maybe one of your first 2 bats was a little risky, you take Corey Seager to kind of, even it out. And that's going to be the case here with O'Neal Cruz. Unfortunately, we're going to have to pay for a little bit of upside here with this pick, but I do like it. I'm not fully against it, but like I said, if I had to choose and I had the choice, I think I'm going Seager over Cruz. Let's move on. Got another starting pitcher for you guys. Let's do Garrett Cole. I feel like Garrett Cole's name has just come up a lot this offseason. Maybe it's just me because I'm a Yankee fan and just got Garrett Cole in the mind. But, he missed a lot of time last year, came back, was, mediocre for a while, but did finish strong. 17 starts for Cole last year, a 3.41 ERA, 95 innings, 99 strikeouts, and a 112 whip. He's going to be 34 next year, Garrett Cole is, right? So, Father Time's catching up to him. I still think he's going to be solid. I currently have Garrett Cole ranked as my number 11 starting pitcher. So I do like Cole as an SP1. I truly do. I truly do think Cole is a solid SP1. And I do think we see a low 3s ERA, maybe something closer to his 2021 season with a little bit less on the heavy strikeouts. So maybe it's more like 200 and maybe it's like 181 innings and like 205 strikeouts, maybe 215 strikeouts, right? So I don't think the strikeouts are going to be as crazy as they have been in the past for Cole, but well over a K per 9. I definitely think he can throw, a lot of innings next season. Cole's a workhorse. Yeah, he's got the frame for it. He's 6'4", 220. And next year, this upcoming season might be one of his last monstrous seasons, or not monstrous, but really, really solid seasons. But I think we can still take advantage of it at this draft price here. I really love Cole in the 4th round. And honestly, I have Cole ahead of Cease. I have Cole ahead of Crochet. So, and I have Cole ahead of Kirby. So he's my honestly favorite starting pitcher in this round. So I think we take advantage of that. Next up, somebody I think I'm just really out on. I see at CJ Abrams here. I like the other 2 guys we talked about at shortstop better than him, which is Seager and Cruz. With Abrams, man, he was out partying, one night, got disciplined for not showing up for, the game or whatever. He did have a 20-30 season last year, 138 games played, 541 at bats, 79 runs, 29 doubles, 6 triples, 20 bombs, 65 RBIs, 31 steals, and he hit 246. He's going to be 24 next year. Do I think there's another level to Abrams? Yeah, I think there's a world where Abrams, grows into a little bit more pop, and, the speed's there. He did take a step back. He was never going to keep that 47 steal, kind of pace that he had there. It was really the second half of 2023 where Abrams had like a monstrous pace going on. He wasn't going to upkeep that, but I think he could be 25 homers, 40 steals, but I don't think the batting average is going to be amazing. He's similar comp to Abrams is like a Jazz Chisholm light type. So, I like somebody O'Neal Cruz is a little bit safer, plays for a little bit of a better team, even though I think the Nationals are going to be sneaky good this year. I'm just not in on Abrams, man. And I could be wrong here. He's just not the guy for me. I'm probably going to be passing on him in most drafts. Let's move on to Michael Harris. Michael Harris is a very fun one here. Someone that I wish Matt was here to debate with me, but I think Harris has crazy upside, man. And I don't think we've really seen it yet. I don't think we've seen his true potential. Was banged up last year, dealt with a bunch of injuries, but in the time he did play, he was solid. It was 110 games for Michael Harris last year, 440 at bats, 58 runs, 14 doubles, 3 triples, 16 homers, 48 RBIs, 10 steals, and he had 264. I think Harris is an easy 2020 candidate, man. I think there's a world where at 24 years old this upcoming season, he grows into a bit more pop, 25 bombs, 25, 30 steals, hits 290 plus. And I think I think he finds a sweet spot in this lineup, man. I think they got to find a way to get a guy like Harris, who's a career 285 hitter, a lot closer to the top of that lineup, man. He even took a step forward in plate discipline in 2024. He had 23 walks to 94 strikeouts. And once again, that was in 110 games for Michael Harris. I love him, man. I probably have him ranked a little bit higher than most. I have Michael Harris ranked as my number 16 outfielder going into 2025. I love it. I think he's a fun pick here. Probably a really, really strong outfielder number 2. And let's move on to the last guy in the 4th round. It's Jacob deGrom. This one, man, is hard because I would love it. I would love Jacob deGrom as like an SP3, but at this point, I think it's SP1, right? If you're not counting Ohtani, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. deGrom is an SP1 is so hard, man. He's not going to stay healthy. That's pretty much almost guaranteed. He hasn't thrown 100 innings since 2019. I'm out. I'm just out on it. And so let's just do this real quick before we leave, guys. My least favorite pick of the round, maybe it's a tie between, I'd say, Abrams and deGrom. My absolute favorite pick of the round, I like Corey Seager a lot. I like Corey Seager's price here. I like Garrett Cole's price here. And I like Michael Harris a lot too. But guys, with that being said, that is all for today. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, rate, and review. And shout out to our everydayers and new listeners for making Locked On Fantasy Baseball your first listen each and every day. Guys, until next time, see you.